なんかもう大詰めっぽいんだけど、あと取り替えするかわかりません。まだね、ストッキングのね、つながりがね、判明してないところなんですけどね。なぜ、3つ目の手紙がホワイトホースって書いてあって、それは転送されて遅れてね、ここに着いたと。ホワイトハーバーマディソン。なんで間違えたのか、住所を伺えた。遅れたことによって実行ができた。違うね。ちょっとわかんないから順番にやろう。ちょっとわからなくなっちゃったな。そしたらね、どこにあったかな。わからなくなっちゃったな。なぜ住所を間違えたのか。 買った。的に間違えた。なぜ送ったのか。これはもしも警視庁だと転送はされない。個人の住所が必要だったんですよ。
Is everything clear now?
You might like to explain your reasoning again.
Of course. First of all, remember that the murderer made it a rule to always post his letter before the murder. He never digressed from that rule. However, in Churston, he encountered a problem. The village has only 500 inhabitants. With advance warning, it would be easy to arrest him. Therefore, the murderer delayed his letters deliberately with the wrong address. The plan wouldn't have worked if he'd sent it to Scotland Yard or the papers because everybody knows their addresses. The mistake would have been corrected and the letter would have been on time. That is why the murderer chose me as the recipient.
Because for his plan to succeed, it was necessary for at least one of the letters to have a wrong address and get lost. It was very cunning.
Absolument. It is a very subtle plan. It matches the profile we have drawn up of him perfectly. That of an intelligent, daring and calculating murderer.
But that's not how you describe Cust.
You are quite right, mademoiselle. Like you, I find it hard to believe that this dull character is the clever murderer we are looking for.
Do madmen... I mean, if he's mad, he might have two very different sides.
No doubt. But the murderer is not mad. All the specialists agree that he does not have the profile of a psychopath.
But if Cust is not guilty, how do you explain his presence at the scene of the crimes?
Mr. Clark, the answer to your question is in the medical records of your brother's patients. Documents which Cust most certainly did not have access to. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
カストについて分かっていることは何ですか？影響を受けやすい。順番にやるか。もう分かんないから。どう説明するか。手紙によって
Dr. Clark's patients' records provided a very useful list of potential victims, sorted by alphabetical order. The killer definitely used it, explaining the fact that all the victims were former patients of the doctor. It is this fact that clears Cust once and for all, because he never had access to these records. So how did he happen to be at the scene of the crimes? Either the murderer sent him there, or Cust was following him closely. Cust's highly suggestible nature leads us to the second hypothesis. The murderer was manipulating him. He systematically sent Cust to the towns where he was going to strike, so that the suspicion would land on the poor man's shoulder.
That's evil. What sort of killer could have such a plan? And what would he gain from 3 completely different murders?
Indeed, it seems unlikely that the same murderer committed all the crimes. What should we take from that?
一人を殺すことが犯人があった。
Just one murder was of benefit to the murderer. The others were just diversions. On reflection, there is only one conclusion. The murderer killed once out of interest, and twice to divert our attention. This reasoning points at 2 potential culprits.
殺人を殺人で隠す。
Donald Fraser?
Yes, mademoiselle. That's good thinking. Mr. Fraser may have killed Betty out of jealousy. Mr. Clark may have killed his brother in order to inherit his large fortune. Both have a motive.
But Donald did not have access to Dr. Clark's records.
Please allow me to disagree with you, mademoiselle.
ドナルドはこれを見てもらっていた。ドナルドはチャールストンで急行を通ると取って関係があったこと。
He works for Court and Brunskill, one of whose clients was Sir Carmichael.
It doesn't prove that I went to Comeside.
You could have done it, and you may have used the opportunity to take a look at Sir Carmichael's records.
You think I'm guilty?
You or Mr. Franklin Clark.
That's ridiculous.
Both of you have a motive. The question is, which of you has the profile that most resembles the murderer? Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
知的か。ドナルドは知的か。ドナルド。順番にやるか。わかんないよね。自信か。意欲的か。列車好き。冷静。衝動的か。寛大。
Ladies and gentlemen, Donald may share many character traits with the murderer, but he does not have his cold indifference. He has a temper. It is hard to imagine him planning anything. Also, jealousy is his motive, and crimes of passion are rarely planned.
Right, I suppose it's my turn to be subjected to the same scrutiny.
Absolument, Mr. Clark. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
知的か。フランクリンは知的か。フランクリンによる。 自信か。右翼的か。電車好きか。でっせ。
As you have all seen, there is a disturbing similarity between Mr. Clark's profile and that of the killer. In actual fact, it is exactly the same.
Mr. Poirot, your psychological studies are interesting, but your conclusions do not add up. Why would I have wished my brother's death? The inheritance is lawfully mine. I just have to wait.
No, you had to act quickly.
メイドに好意を持っていて、結婚しちゃうと、そのメイドがね、遺産を持っていっちゃう可能性がある。そのメイドの名前がソーラ・グレイじゃなかったっけ？
Because of Miss Grey. Mademoiselle, although you haven't been telling the truth, there is no doubt in my mind that you would have found a way to marry Sir Carmichael after Lady Clark's death. For you, Mr. Clark, it was a disaster. If Miss Grey had children by your brother, you would not have inherited a thing. You realized the danger after reading several letters from Comside, especially one in which your brother opened his heart to you. So you hurried home from China, and you took action. In truth, Cust was no more than a puppet manipulated by the real culprit. You, Mr. Clark.
Such an imagination, Mr. Poirot. In fact, nobody manipulated Cust. The famous instructions he received by post. He wrote them on the typewriter. We
タイ
know that
プ
for
ライ
sure.
ターにね、このフランクさんの指紋があるということを、嘘をつくわけですね。
Eh bien voilà, light has now been shed on the ABC murders.
Your theories are ingenious, but you haven't any proof.
One point to him. For the moment, I have no material proof. Either I admit to it, or I bluff.
新しいお知らせ。
タイプライターから指紋が
PS
嘘をつく。
ボタンを押すと詳細を確認できます。
The prints you left on Cust's typewriter.
Enough.
Oh, of course you wiped the typewriter before sending it. But not carefully enough. Scotland Yard has found your print along with those of Cust.
I understand why you never wanted to lend me your new typewriter, and why you were searching through your brother's things. And the hole you dug on the moors. What did you hide there? The knife you used to kill your brother?
Game, set, match. You win, Mr. Poirot. But it was worth trying.
もう終わりか。
Don't come near me! I'll never let you take me, Mr. Poirot.
空砲です。
I'm sorry, Mr. Clark, there is no easy death for you. I expected your reaction, so I used blanks. I'm sorry, mademoiselle, but your second chance has been lost. Franklin Clark will never inherit his brother's fortune.
でも火薬の音で耳が聞こえなくなっちゃうかもしれない。
Disappointed at having missed the chance to become Lady Clark, Thora Grey left England. Donald Fraser and Megan Barnard married. On Poirot's recommendation, Mary Drower started to work for Lady Clark. The elderly lady's condition suddenly took a turn for the better. And a few months later, to Dr. Logan's great surprise, she was back on her feet again. According to this eminent physician, it appears to be an extremely rare case of spontaneous remission. Lady Clark has enjoyed very good health ever since. Journal of an Innocent. The incredible story of ABC. As for A.B. Cust, after being advised by Poirot, he made a great deal of money by selling his story to the press. And as for me, and with business booming, the Black Swan has become the #1 tourist attraction in the whole of Yorkshire, even more popular than York Minster.
クレジットだね。こう割っちゃったね。寂しいね。もっとやりたかったんだけどね。もっと今の10倍の時間をかけて解きたかったな。あっという間に終わっちゃったな。まあこんな短いゲームでもね、相当な時間をかけて完成させたんだろうね。だからこそ短いんだよ。こういうように長いともっと時間かかって大変なんだよね。ふう。すべてのこういう名前をさ、英語だけじゃなくてさ、日本語でこう書いたらどうなのかっていうのをさ、まあ、日本語だけじゃなくて、なんか5カ国語ぐらいで一人一人の名前をさ、読める、なんかその国の表示の仕方で書いたのも楽しいのにね。もっといろんな人に、まあ英語でも読めなくもないけどさ、カタカナで読めたらもっと伝わるんだけどね。 そうそう、終わりかな。2016年に作られたなんだね。ABC 殺人事件、アガサ・クリスティ。他のストーリーもね、なんかゲーム化してくれると楽しいんだけど、それは大変なんだろうね。まあいいや。長いな。すごい長いね。なんか、やっぱり、こんだけのゲームを作るのでも、すごい協力が必要だってことだよね。長い。長いよ。スキップしてもいいんだけどさ、一応ね、一回ぐらいは見ておきたいからね。早送りとかできたらいいんだけどね。英語の声優かな。ボイスなんとかかんとか。ボイスフレンチ。プレイテスター。スペシャルサンクス。ゲームデーシングスタジオトランスラチオンズ長いな。やっぱなんか別の言葉でさ、別の外国語でも書いて繰り返してんのかなこれ。なんか同じ内容が次々と。ああ、そっか。これ違う言葉で繰り返されてんだね。これ表示されるの2回目だからさ。もしかしたらこれずっと見ていくと、カタカナで表記されるのも流れてくるのかもしれないね。これ繰り返しなんだよ。最後カタカナで出てくるのかもしれないな。これは何語だろう。ウムラウトとかあるから、なんだろう、ドイツ語系かな。 いやー、もうスキップしちゃおうかな。これは何語だろうね、これ。ドイツ語かな。スペイン語かな。フランス語ってちょっとこんな感じだっけな。最後、日本語でも出てくるのかな。ライターズ。ジョアロ。シネマ。ディレクター。ストーリー。ボロ。ゲームプレイ&プログラム。プロ。スタジオアマソン。ボイスレコーディング。まあ、いろんな言語でさ、こう表示してほしいってさっき言ったかもしれないけどさ、この一つの名前のところに、いろんな言語を書いて、それで流した方が、もっとわかりやすいんじゃないかなと思うんだけどね。一つの言語のところに、カタカナとか中国語とかさ、ドイツ語とかスペイン語とかで、日本語だったらカタカナで書いたりさ、同じ文章を違う言葉で何回も繰り返すよりはそっちの方がいいと思うんだけどね。もう日本語はなしで、これで終了がいいんだけどな。これ3回目だね。これで3回目の、これで4回目がスタートするのか。これ、永遠に繋がるのかな。これ、言葉変わってないよね。変わってんのかな。英語、フランス語、スペイン語、ドイツ語ぐらいかな。もうスキップ押しちゃおうかな。なんか変わってんのかな、これ言語が。もう一回フィニッシュのところに来て、次の言語があんまり変化ないようだと、スキップボタンを押しちゃおうかな。なんかさ、あんまり変わってないよね。まあでもちょっとアルファベットの上についてる点とかさ、変なマークのやつがちょっと変わってるから、やっぱり違う言語なんだろうね。これ何語かな。フランス語とか、オランダ語っていうのもあるかもしれないね。イタリア語とかさ。まあ、多分ね、ポアロのさ、部屋の飾りが日本画が飾ってあっ ったと思うんだけど、あれは日本人向けのデザインだっじゃないかなと思うんだよね。だったら日本語でもこの表示は出てくるような気がするんだけどね。イギリス英語、アメリカ英語、その次がフランス語かスペイン語かドイツ語、イタリア語、これオランダ語っていうのもあるし、ちょっとわかんねえな。プレイテスターズ、スペシャルサンクス、あともうちょっとでまた終わるね。ポートピア殺人事件とかさ、オホーツクに消えゆくとかさ、確か終わった後こんなエンドロールはなかったような気がするんだけど、やっぱりそういうのとはちょっと違うんだね。これで1個終わるね。次はチャスター。これ何語だろうね。変わってるから。なんか変わってるような気もするね。なんだろうね、これね。何語だろう、これ。アルファベットという点では変わらないよね。これ変わってるかな。どうだろうね。なんか今までとちょっと違う感じはするな。気のせいかな。いつまで続くのかな、これ。永遠に続くのかな。全く同じものを繰り返してんのかな、これ。なんかね、前とは違うような気がしないでもないんだよな。これでまた終わるね。1個。アルファベットばっかりだからね。でもね、なんかね、ちょっとずつ違うんだよね。微妙なところが。どうしようか、もうやめちゃおうか、これ。 プレイテスターズ、スペシャルサンクス、スペシャルサンクス、ファミリース&キャスト、ゲームデザイン、デジン、もうスキップボタン押しよっかな。テスターズ、スペシャルサンクス、これで一回また終わるね。もう終わりでいいかな、これ。なんか変わってないような気がするんだよな。やめちゃおう。もう 100%。エコポイントが足りないね。まださ。
When Franklin understands that his brother's inheritance is going to be stolen from under his nose, he decides to get rid of him. In order not to be considered as a suspect, he has the idea of including the murder as part of a series that the police would put down to a madman. Franklin uses Sir Carmichael's medical records to choose his victims as well as the ideal suspect, Alexander Bonaparte Cust, who was seriously wounded in the war and suffers from bouts of amnesia. Franklin writes the letters he will send me before each murder on his own typewriter in advance. He contacts Cust by letter and offers him a job. Cust is convinced that he is working for a hosiery company. In reality, it is Franklin that sends him his instructions, his goods, and even his typewriter. When we receive the first letter, Hastings thinks that it is a joke. As for me, filled with foreboding, I prefer to inform Chief Inspector Japp. Following his written instructions, Cust goes to Andover. He visits Mrs. Asher's tobacco shop and sells her a pair of stockings. After Cust's visit, Franklin, in turn, enters the tobacco shop. Mrs. Asher is not suspicious of the murderer, whom she takes to be an ordinary customer. The old lady turns around to take a packet of cigarettes. She is beaten to death. We investigate the first murder with Hastings. No suspect has a motive. A few weeks later, we receive a second letter signed ABC. Chief Inspector Japp is informed. The victim's name should start with the letter B. Alexander Bonaparte Cust goes to Bexhill. He sells Mrs. Barnard a pair of stockings. Betty Barnard leaves her work. She's dressed to go out. The young woman is strangled on the beach. Betty was killed by the man who had arranged to meet her that evening, the seducer Franklin Clark. In Bexhill, Donald Fraser appears to be the perfect suspect for Betty's murder, but he has no connection with Mrs. Asher. 5 days after the Bexhill murder, Cust goes to Churston for his work. In the afternoon, Sauergret turns away a stocking seller. After dinner, Sir Carmichael Clark takes his usual walk. His brother waits for him, hidden behind a bush. The murderer leaps out from his hiding place and cuts Sir Clark's throat. The third letter arrived late. Franklin deliberately wrote a wrong address. In Churston, Thorogray and Franklin Clark are the main suspects. Back in London, Cust is seized by violent coughing fit and brings up blood. He stains his shirt, which later frightens his landlady. We receive the final letter from ABC. The next murder will be in Doncaster. The second general meeting in London highlights the common point between the victims, stockings, and a throat condition. Custer's landlady telephones Scotland Yard to tell them about her suspicions. Cust is arrested shortly afterwards in Doncaster. Franklin had planned a fourth murder in Doncaster. He abandons the idea after Custer's arrest. Cust confesses to the crimes he did not commit. He's an easy culprit. Too easy. Franklin Clark is unmasked. He is the true culprit and the man who manipulated Cust. And there we have it. Another case solved by Hercule Poirot.
なるほど。これ全部 100% じゃないんだね。鷹の目。なんかこれは悔しいね。セシウム結晶。ロバ、大きなロバ。まあなんか選択肢でさ、会話の選択肢で余計なことをやるとこういうのもらえたのかもしれないな。いや、もういいよ。何これ。
Some post for you, Poirot.
Mr. Hercule Poirot, you fancy yourself, don't you, at solving mysteries that are too difficult for our poor thick-head British police? Let us see, Mr. Clever Poirot, just how clever you can be. Perhaps you'll find this nut too hard to crack. Look out for Andover on the 21st of the month.
これ一番最初に戻って
Yours
るね。
extra. A, B, C.
Ah, it's some sort of joke.
Maybe. But please remind me to inform Chief Inspector Japp.
あのさ、この手紙が来るときはヘングスはいないんだよね、本当はね。これオープニングだ。最初から再現してんのかな。これ最初に戻ってんだよね。こんな映像あったかどうか忘れちゃったな。ヘングスは南米で休暇を取っていたはずなんだよね、本当はね。
It's here, Poirot. The murder took place in this street. Grim place indeed.
Tout à fait, Hastings. The streets of Andover are in a terrible state.
Look, there's Chief Inspector Japp. He's talking with a policeman.
Let us try not to get our shoes wet.
もうこれで終わりにしようじゃ。これ始まり戻ってるよね。やめましょう。